How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Valleyheart with us today. He can say his name, what he does, and all that jazz.
My name is Kevin. I play guitar, sing, produce, and am in Valleyheart.
There we go. Well, Kev, I appreciate you for coming on. As I mentioned at the top of the show, been a fan for a while. Obviously, just picked up nowadays very recently, so I feel like I'm a poser fan slightly, but I did buy it. So to those who didn't think that I actually bought it, I actually bought it. But it's been cool seeing your musical journey with Valleyheart. I've been very much a fan since the time I saw you back in like 2017, 2018 in Philadelphia. And so wanted to have you guys on for a little bit now. So it's been pretty cool. But to kind of start out, Kevin, how did Valleyheart start? How did you guys get your members? And then how is it kind of today, like, the band?
Yeah. Well, we started in 2016 and had been playing music with some of the guys in that first lineup for a while into our teenage years in other bands and other
Sure.
projects. And sort of that band quit when our sort of high school band, and then it was a heavier project. And we wanted to write some more dynamic rock music, and
Sure.
I was writing a lot of like solo folk music. So the merging of sort of those two desires created what was Valleyheart. And yeah, a lot of the members have sort of weaved in and out, changed. Some people have sort of left and come back, and just the different roles as like we've gotten older, it's gotten a little tougher to have that sort of consistency with people getting married, having kids, or other
Fair
things
enough.
happening like that, which is a common thing. But I think the heart of the Valleyheart project was always that friendship and writing music through friendship. And it's cool to see that even today, even with possibly a different sort of group of people, that culture and character has remained. So yeah, I mean, now it's a different lineup completely, but it feels really good, and it feels really true to sort of the music we're writing now and the place that we're at now.
Yeah, it feels very. I feel like the growth that I've seen, because obviously listen to nowadays, then kind of moved into everyone I've ever loved, and then Scenery was the most recent thing that you guys released up until very soon. Obviously, when the time this releases, Heal My Head will be out as well, um, which is really cool. I feel like over those years that I've been able to kind of listen to your band as like kind of more of a fan and just like enjoying your music. It's cool to see the growth in like how the music has changed as you guys have kind of changed over the years.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is the, not to shill about Heal My Head, but I feel like this thus far has been the best work because I've been going through and listening to it a bunch of different times. I'll probably have a review out for you guys to check out by the time this is
Okay.
up. So
Awesome.
it's been really cool to hear it just like evolve over time, and like some of the songs is just like, I don't know what about it, but they're just so fucking catchy, and it's great. So I feel like I'll be like, like just driving, and I'll hear like that little like melody of like certain songs. Like I'm listening to literally before we hopped on, I was listening to Your Favorite Jacket, and I was just like
Mm,
humming kind of the melodies and stuff. And so for me, it's like that's the best part about like what's going on here. And I feel like you
yeah.
guys have put a lot of heart into it. How does it feel? Like obviously, much like most bands have been in the pandemic, and obviously coming out of that, does this record have more of a value? Not, obviously not to knock your old material, but does this one
Hmm.
have maybe more of a special quality to it now that you guys have kind of like had time to like sit on it, have time to work on it, and like obviously it will be out by the time this comes out. So how does that
Yeah.
feel for you guys?
It feels terrifying, incredible, surreal, all the things. And yeah, I mean, like many artists who are releasing music now in this period, it's a pandemic record, right? Where we perform or not performed it, we wrote it and recorded a lot of it in 2020 and 2021. Um, and I mean, there was a communal quality about what we were all going through at those times, right?
Sure.
And it
Yeah.
was so much time on our hands, um, So I think a big theme on this record is sort of the idea of the flexibility and the moldability of time and how it can feel long or short, and sort of how that parallels to mental health, right?
Hmm.
And sort of the claustrophobic nature of time, or the freeing nature of knowing that you have it, or the anxious nature of knowing that you have too much of it. So just having that much time, I think, was definitely a theme that played into the lyrical process, and
Sure.
sort of even down to the production and all elements. So in that way, it felt so dynamic to the cultural context we were in, as opposed to maybe past releases. We're still, there was always that cultural context, right?
Yeah.
Where for nowadays, it felt like an EP about friendship and being in that sort of early 20s. What happens next? Friends are moving on, things are changing. With everyone I've ever loved, it was a lot about like my journey through sort of evangelical faith and identity and like fundamentalism and all that stuff. And then with Scenery, it was like sort of this new era of going into looking outside of other your faith or yourself to sort of find it in nature, or sort of see things in another way. And I think Heal My Head feels very much cohesive to the time that it was written, and sort of where I was at mentally, but where we were all at, from the lyrics to the production and the influences of more of like a pop rock sound, like
Yeah.
in the early 2000s, sort of like what we call that like piano radio rock, that feels just nostalgic. It's like the songs you hear at CVS when you're in line. It's like we that was an influence to this album, and if that era. I mean, it doesn't sound too much like it, but that was something we wanted to introduce to our sound, and sort of play with that nostalgically. So I think, yeah, it's the most dynamic record in terms of influences, and in the terms of the period of time we were in, and definitely the most collaborative work, I think.
Yeah, it does. You hit on a good point of it being nostalgic. Like, I grew up religiously, and so it reminds me a lot of those times where I was listening to like those sorts of bands,
Mm-hmm.
and it almost took me to that place where I was just like a kid, like a teenage kid,
Mm-hmm.
and really finding out about like some of the like alternative like Christian kind of alt bands. Like, it
Yeah.
reminded me a lot of like Reliant K, or like Keen
Yeah.
is another one that I was
Yeah,
thinking of.
yeah.
Like, that
Keen
sort
was
of
it? Yeah, yeah. You're on it. Yeah,
those vibes, like, it was so on point for me, and I was like, I
yeah.
almost was shedding kind of a little bit of, getting a little emotional, because
Oh man.
that type of stuff, like, I grew up listening to, and so
Yeah,
for me it was really cool to hear that, and I feel like you guys definitely
yeah.
like nailed it on the head with that type of sound. Were there any other bands, Kev, that you're like kind of listening to or like vibing with at the time that obviously reflects in Heal My Head?
Totally. Yeah. So there, I think for us, so I always love when it was a challenge, and a great challenge to say, okay, we have a record out, we have two EPs out,
Hmm.
but at this point, I feel like there is sort of inadvertently a Valleyheart sound,
Yeah,
and
I would agree.
bringing in these influences. I didn't want to abandon that sort of trajectory. Instead, we wanted to introduce those things, but have it interact with what we've already established. So bringing that in, we felt like we could go super far on the spectrum and just sort of see how it hits against the wall of what we already do naturally.
Fair enough.
So we had tons of influences like that maybe don't even sound like what's on the record, but we have like a playlist going, and we were sort of constantly jamming these songs on the way to practice. And we have like Switchfoot, like tons of Switchfoot
Oh,
stuff. Which
yeah.
is like, again, I don't listen to a lot of Switchfoot these days, but there was a time in my life where there was like a deep connection to that band,
Yeah,
and definitely
yeah.
pulled that back up. Early Coldplay stuff like Parachutes album,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like a Rush of Blood, that record, Mazzy Star, some like 90s stuff, even like New Radicals, and I think our most
Wow.
out, yeah, like that was on a playlist. I'm like looking at, dude, Kelly Clarkson's first album,
Woo!
like, yeah, it's so good. And again, there's this fear almost of like, all right, we're Hillary Duff, Kelly Clark, what's going on here? This is a Valleyheart record. We're writing emo songs, but we're like, hey, let's bring in these influences and see what it does, and just sort of lean into that sort of playful nature. And I think what ended up happening was it's a Valleyheart record, but that sounds a little bit brighter or like catchier, like you're saying. It has a different sort of edge than our past stuff has, and yeah, those influences are all sort of the motivation behind that sort of new sound.
Yeah, it does. It does have that, like you said, it has that classic like old school kind of like, I don't know. I'm 29, so I feel like when I say these like bands, it just makes me feel like incredibly old. But it does have that kind of like Keen was one, like old
Yeah.
Coldplay for sure, and like some Reliant K kind of vibes in
Yep.
there. Switchfoot was another one. So like those types
The
of bands,
Fray,
the
like the
Fray,
Fray.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bands that
Yeah.
had the like kind of more piano focal kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And then I feel like you guys even took it a little further, and there's just like some really beautiful like textures going out through the entire record, and I've really enjoyed the ride. Like this was honestly one record that I feel like, obviously I bought and excited to get vinyl, even though I know it's gonna take some time for me to get that. But hey, I don't know.
It's Hey man, this little secret, but they're here.
Oh, they're here. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're
Oh,
they're they're
oh.
gonna they're gonna
Whew.
ship they're gonna ship on time.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
we
God.
somehow. Yeah, I mean, don't take my word for it, but it's looking like I don't know if I'm even supposed to say this, but it's looking like we're gonna be in good shape.
If not, I'll cut it out and make sure
All
you're
right,
not
word, word,
you're
word.
not indemnified like from
Yeah,
everybody on the internet being like,
sure,
listen,
sure.
Kev said in this interview that we're gonna get him tomorrow, and I
Yeah,
it's not at
yeah,
my doorstep. No, I get it. I
totally.
mean, but getting back to the main source of things, like
Yeah,
it does. It's so great because like I feel like in that way that you guys kind of carved out, like you said, that Valleyheart sound, there's something about it that's kind of new and refreshing to what you guys added to it, like just having a lot more textures, a lot more layering done, and I just think it's like crafted in a much cooler way than I feel like some of the previous material. Again, love that stuff. I'm not gonna not
yeah,
love it, but there's just something special about Heal My Head, and I feel like with a lot of artists recently that I've been having on, like it just feels like everybody took their time to like work on the music like during the pandemic, and
yeah,
honestly some of the best stuff has come out, at least arguably. I've been doing this for 6 years, like best
yeah,
stuff that I've seen in a hot minute from a lot of different artists. So I'm glad that you guys are on that list of bands that
yeah,
I'm gonna come back and listen to this record. Fingers crossed, I think it's gonna end up on my albums of the year for sure. I'm already
wow,
like vibing with it super hard, so I feel like that
cool.
trend will continue. But um keeping it more current, Kev, what are you listening to currently? What's on the Spotify? What are you kind of listening to on a daily basis right now?
Let's take a look. I got it. I got Spotify pulled up. Um, so there are two records that I'm really into right now.
Okay.
I'll start with those. I love this question a lot. Thank you for asking it.
Oh, no problem.
I love talking about things that are not about myself. There are two records. One is super well known. One is maybe not so much. The super well known one is Kendrick's Lamar's new album.
Yes, yeah, that's great.
Been loving it a whole lot. I was a huge fan of his past work, and Damn was a huge album for me, and like just the whole sort of concept album idea was one of the most mind blowing pieces. So yeah, loving the new record so much. Still sort of getting into it. And then there's this guy named Henry Jameson.
Okay.
He is a singer songwriter, and he has had an album in 2017 called The Wilds that came out that sort of just hit me at the right time in life, and just like probably that album is in my top 10 albums ever. And I've loved this stuff ever since. Put out a record a couple years ago, second record that I was like into but didn't really resonate with as much. And then he just released a record this year called The Years, and man, I'm loving it a lot. It's like, folky stuff, but with like some cool production in that whole like Bon Iver Sufjan world. And I've just been obsessed with that album. And then other than that, I've been listening to Queen of Jeans. I don't know if you know that band.
Nice.
They're,
Okay. Yeah.
they're they're from Philly, I think. Yeah, they're great, and they have some new singles out that have been awesome. Oh, we have a current tunes playlist that's up on our Spotify that has sort of everything we've been listening to. So if people are, and we constantly update it with just new stuff. But that has a lot of the stuff that we've been listening to. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm missing. Dijon, super good. Frou Frou, some like old Frou Frou stuff, which is like Imogen Heap's band that is so good. Big Thief.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, the new record is like 22 songs long, but like so good. So yeah, tons of stuff on there, but all over the map.
There we go. I'll leave the Spotify link in the description. Go
Sweet.
check it out. I also wanted to mention too, like I feel like also sonically with Valleyheart, I'm sure you'll find this as a major compliment, but you guys kind of have a little bit almost like a City and Color kind of folksy kind of vibe going on too.
Yeah,
So as being a major City and Color stan, I feel like I have to mention that because you guys got that little, there's a little bit of like folky goodness in there. So wanted to mention that.
absolutely. Yeah, I have a solo project that's coming out soon. That's pretty much in that vein. That stuff I love. Like "Bring Me Your Love" was another
Oh,
record that really played a huge role in my life. So you're onto something there, and that's not. I do love City and Color. I haven't kept up as much since that record, but every time I do hear something that Dallas puts out, I'm really like, man.
I feel like if I was to buy all of his current records, I would pretty much be in debt at this point. I have two of them now, and
Okay.
I need to get I think five more. So I am. If someone wants
Wow.
to like give them to me or sell them to me at a reasonable amount of money, then I will certainly pick them up. But I've seen some
Start.
outrageous numbers, so
So GoFundMe time.
it's GoFundMe time.
Yeah, yeah.
Next question, Kev. Keeping it more interesting. If you guys could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Ooh, well, we do have one cover up already.
Oh, okay.
Um, we did it after our Nowadays EP. It's not really super well known or anything because it was sort of early in our band, but we covered a Sufjan Stevens song,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
it's up on our Spotify. It's Fourth of July, um, on his Carrie Lowell album, which is top 5 records for me ever, maybe top 3. So we did that, and that really excited about that. That one of those things. Covers are weird, right? Because I look back on that, and I just think, how the hell did we have the audacity to cover Sufjan Stevens as like an alt rock? Like that's ridiculous. Like that makes no sense. Like that's the most ballsy thing, but I think that it is cool, and I think it does add something different to the covers. So we've done that. I don't know. Since then, we haven't. I always love to have covers that like the original song is so different. So
Sure.
you're not just like covering a rock song. I don't usually find that interesting. I'm just like, well, this sounds like sort of someone else's voice, which is fine. Like sometimes that is cool. But I really love rearranging covers and like getting like an electronic song or this kind of song and making it into the Valleyheart
Sure.
sound. So with that said, I don't know, man. There's maybe there's so much. But I would just think something different, like something really out there, like maybe a frou frou song. Like I thought about
Ooh,
that.
all right, all right.
Yeah, like something like that would be cool.
I think that I feel like you guys could. I totally get the notion of like covers and stuff. Like I feel like I'm like if it's a band I don't know and I'm seeing them live and they wind up doing a cover song and it's a song I
Yeah,
know, I'm like, okay, if you can sell me on that, then I'm gonna listen
yeah,
to the rest of your record or like album or EP, whatever it may be.
yeah,
But I feel like I agree with you in that aspect of like covers where if it's like you're a rock band and you do a cover of another rock band song, it's like, okay, that's
yeah.
nice. Don't get me wrong. Great choice. But like, I feel like it could be I feel like you could do something different that's out of your range that would be more appealing to someone that's just like, I've never heard of your
Right.
band, but that cover, fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe we'll do one. It'd be cool if we did one again. I think we've talked about it.
There we go. Well, guys, if you have any suggestions for Valleyheart, put them in the comments. Sure, Kev and the rest of the guys will check it out, and who knows?
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe it'll show up on their Spotify someday soon. But
Maybe.
next question, Kev. For those who aren't familiar with Valleyheart, they just wind up checking in, watching this interview. Much love if you have. But if you could recommend one song to a new Valleyheart listener, what song would you recommend to them to listen to?
The Heal My Head will be out when this is out, right?
Correct. Yes, it would.
Awesome. I would recommend the title track, Heal My Head.
Ooh, okay.
off the top of my head.
All right.
Yeah, I think you're starting in such a weird place there that it's a good starting point. Yeah,
Okay, I could see that. I could see that. I feel like if I was to give an answer, not
yeah.
that anyone is asking, but
I'm asking.
I feel like ooh, that's tough. Ugh. I really enjoyed the numbers. Like that
Yeah,
one's got like just everything, and it was the great first like selling point to me on like
yeah,
this record that I was like, okay, this I'm already gonna love this already. But like
yeah,
that was I obviously being the first single, like it's like this is a make or break kind of thing, and I feel like
yeah.
for me, like totally broke me. So I was I was on board, and then once Heal My Head came out, I was like, okay, all right, I'm excited to get this. So then I emailed like I emailed Tim, and I was like, please send me this. I need to listen to the rest of it. And so
Cool.
I mean, I feel like I would have to say Numbers if that was
The
my
numbers.
choice, but
Cool.
I would probably also agree with your answer. Heal My Head's also a fantastic choice too. So
Yeah.
guys, check
Cool.
them out. Links
Yeah.
below. Go give them a listen. But and also go give the record a listen. There will be a link for that to go buy it. Please go purchase it.
Yeah.
The next question I have for you, Kev, favorite food to eat. What's your go-to?
Favorite food to eat? Probably a Mediterranean quinoa bowl with like Brussels sprouts,
Ooh, all right.
spicy mayo, quinoa, cucumbers, some sort of grilled shrimp or salmon. Yeah, like seafood. I love So yeah, I'm in between something seafood or like a quinoa bowl, but I'm gonna just say like a quinoa bowl with salmon.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
We live in the fancy life here. I like that.
Well, trying to live some life.
I mean, I feel like you're speaking to my chef nature as being a cook. Like
Oh, you're a cook.
that,
Cool.
I don't actually cook for a living. I just it's just a hobby that I have. But I might have to concoct something like that now because sounds delish.
Yeah, been doing like a honey garlic soy glazed salmon in the oven. Marinated for a bit, put it in the oven, medium, and put that over. Yeah, like any sort of quinoa bowl. It's real good.
All right, I'm gonna have to take
Yeah,
Kev's food recommendation.
the recipe.
The recipe that will also be in the description. Go check.
Yes, yes. Let's go.
Next question, Kev. If you were to pick somebody to collaborate with on an up and coming Valleyheart record, whether it be a guest vocal or a producer you'd want to work with, who would it be?
I'm gonna say producer just because there's so many artists that I love that it's hard to choose one.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Um, but for producer, there's this guy named Andrew Sarlo. I
Okay.
mean, we have a guy we work with that I love, so I'm just sort of daydreaming here, and he's in a different world. But I also potentially see Valleyheart moving in that direction. So he's done uh, like I don't know if you know the band Howdy.
I have not.
Um,
No, I'll have to go check him out though.
yeah, I don't know. He's done some like cool stuff with them. Did some songs on the last Big Beef record, and just has like a really cool creative mixing and production style. Um, Man, I feel like this is a weird answer. I feel like that's just not like my ultimate person. I'm
It's a
having a
very
hard
on the
time
spot.
here.
It's very on the spot. So I mean, I feel like I like put you in a corner and like was like, here, tell me, Kev. You know,
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I might change my answer if that's okay.
that's going ahead.
Um, yeah, I think I'm looking at. Oh, by the way, I have like a external monitor, so I'm looking at you as I'm looking up. So I hope you're just not like he's just off
No,
in
I just
Neverland
am
somewhere.
like, man, he's just like, no, I'm kidding.
He's just looking up. Let's see here. A collaborator. I mean, Andy Hall from Manchester Orchestra would be
Ooh,
really
all
cool.
right, all right.
Yeah, that would be cool. Always, I like his voice and his writing a whole lot. Um, yeah, I'll go with that.
I like that choice because I feel like in terms of vocally, you guys kind of like are on like two opposite ends of the scale. Like, and Andy's more like low, like kind of like chest, kind of like real, like deep kind of voice, and you're kind of like mid to like more in that higher kind of tier. like over there. So I feel like I could see that rocking. That'd
Cool.
be pretty sick. I'd like
Cool.
that. So guys, if you want to hear Andy Hall on an up and coming Valleyheart record, you have to go onto your phone and type in Twitter and then go tag Valleyheart and also tag Manchester Orchestra and then say collab question mark. And then, I'm not a legal scholar, but I believe to be that is a legally binding contract at that point. So, just saying. I mean, if you want
Mhm.
to make that happen, I'm, more, manifestation. So I
Let's
believe
do
in
it.
that. So let's make that happen.
Yeah.
The next question I have for you, Kev. You guys signed to Tooth and Nail Records. Obviously, that congrats to you guys on doing that. And I know you guys were with Rise before that point. How has that been? Obviously, I feel like with most bands, like that's a great label to be on. But how did you guys kind of go from that process of like transitioning from I think prior to that, I don't know if you guys were signed in between like Everybody I Ever Loved and Scenery, but how did the whole combination of you guys with Tooth and Nail kind of come to be?
Yeah. We put out Scenery, which was in between this album and our first album, under sort of a friends label called Honey Pit. But it wasn't like it was sort of just like a chill thing we did. Um, it's been really good. I think there's a lot of things that I learned from just the experience of working with labels from the beginning, and like maybe you know I always have a hard time talking about this because I don't ever want to like hash on someone from a previous label or anything. But
Sure, sure.
um, yeah, it's been really good, and they've been sort of feeling like partners as opposed to sort of over us or anything like that.
Sure,
And
sure. Yeah.
it's I think this, even with the style of music, which was definitely not intentional, it feels sort of like a full circle moment. And I think it's been really exciting to, obviously they're a very nostalgic label that has tons of bands in the past that have released important stuff, important to me and important to sort of a lot of people in our world. But it's been really cool too. I think from the beginning, I was pretty much on the train of I don't want to sort of just ride the wave of the past. Like I want this to feel like new and innovating.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they were very much on that same page of like this feels like a new era and a new wave for us as well. So that's been really cool just to like have that niceness of having the influence and the cloud of people that have come before, but also this feels like sort of a new era for them and for us as well. And yeah, they've been really nice to work with so far. So it's been good.
That's awesome, and I know like I know you're kind of like obviously just trying to make sure everybody was cool on that end, but like I imagine like because I obviously have had talks with other people that have been on labels and stuff, and I feel like at least from my perspective as being like a music connoisseur of some sort, like I feel like you guys, if you guys hadn't signed to Tooth and Nail, I would have been very surprised because I feel like your guys' sound fits very much what they're kind of looking for in terms of like the bands that they've been
Mm-hmm.
signing recently. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing for you, and I'm glad obviously that the process has been going well for you in regards to them because I personally haven't heard anything bad from Tooth and Nail, so
Yeah,
I'm glad
it's
that
been good.
it's been solid. But the next question, Kev, that I have for you, obviously you sing and I'm pretty sure you play a little guitar action. But if there was another musical instrument you could master, what would it be?
Well, let's see. I play guitar, I play bass, I play keys. All to say, I feel like it would be drums, which I slightly play drums and I can
Okay.
like write drums, but like my temptation is to say like viola or something crazy. But the truth is, if I could solidify playing drums, I could really flesh out like I could make a whole record. And some people are there; they're like so multi instrumentalists where they could play the bass, they could play the keys, they could play guitar, they could sing, they could play drums. Drums are like the only of the foundational elements of like a rock sound that I can't really record myself. So I'd say drums. It'd be really cool. I've taken some lessons and have done it and can like hold it down a beat, but in no way am like a playing drummer. But I would love to get tight with the drums. Yeah.
I feel the same way, but the fact that I live in an apartment is probably not
Yeah,
conducive for that sort of situation. So,
right.
as much as I would agree with you, drumming would be fantastic. I know that I would have to probably own a home of some sort and be like slightly far
Yeah,
away from my neighbors to to play drums.
totally, totally.
Next question, Kev. This one's my personal favorite. I'm a huge nerd, so I like to ask it. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
I would be Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay, classic choice. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Are you a KH1 fan or what?
yeah, yeah. I am. I am. I grew up on it, and yeah, yeah. It feels so. It's like one of the most nostalgic things for me. Like thinking about that video game. So
Every time
Kingdom
I
Hearts all the way, baby.
every time I think about Kingdom Hearts, I only think about the track, the bops. You know, like Simple and
Dude,
Clean,
yeah. Oh,
Sanctuary, uh,
Sanctuary, Simple and Clean, Dearly Beloved,
Dearly
the piano
Beloved.
intro. Come
Uh,
on, let's go.
It's so good, so
So
good. Like
good.
you can't they're synonymous. Like
Oh yeah,
you hear like the Kingdom Hearts songs and you hear like obviously playing Kingdom Hearts. Oh, it's a blast. So
dude.
I like that
Yes.
choice. If I could get up from my computer, I have Sora from Kingdom Hearts 3 as like a Funko Pop like behind my computer desk here. So
No way.
yeah. So I got I'm well all my entire desk is just filled with a bunch of like video game or like stuff like that. I'm a huge
Oh no way.
Pokemon fan, so
Oh, cool,
I have
cool.
that stuff smattered all over the office here. But
Dude, Pokemon cards are coming back though, huh?
oh yeah, they're wild. They're wild. It's wild. So and I have a collection. So I mean, not that
That's
I'm trying to
awesome.
offload it, but I mean, for the
Yeah,
right price, if I'm I probably would.
man. You want to hear a crazy story?
Go on ahead, tell me.
So when I was like really, really young, I collected Pokemon cards too. I had thousands and I was super into it. And I wasn't into like sort of playing because you could play them, right?
Yeah.
But I was just into collecting them and I just was collecting, collecting, collecting. And sort of growing up in the AG Christian faith, there was a sermon my mom had heard one day talking about how like Pokemon was connected to like Satan and the devil.
Yes. Oh my god.
And my mom and I have talked about this now, and she's so, like, my mom is not like we were. There was just sort of a brainwashing that occurred with like that phase of life,
Yeah.
and she made me throw away all my Pokemon cards.
Oh.
Yeah, and I threw them all away in the trash. I'll never
Mm.
forget. I won't forget that image. And like knowing now what they're worth, and knowing like it's just one of those things. And I've talked to my mom, and she feels so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She is hurt. She's so heartbroken. And my poor mother, I mean, I was brainwashed too. I thought I was doing a good thing, and it's so messed up to think about. But yeah, it's pretty painful.
Oh no. Oh, I will have to say, shout outs to my parents. They're like fully on board with Pokemon.
That's good.
they didn't subscribe to the brainwashing. They were just like,
That's
oh
good.
man, we love Pikachu. He's just this cute little mouse thing. They were like
Yeah,
super stoked on it. So I feel fortunate. I have heard of friends that had to give away their like Pokemon cards, and I'm just like, oh, that just makes a giant pit in my chest open up.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
just
It's
nostalgia
tough,
for me. So
definitely.
oh, one, I'm one. I can't believe it. I want to eventually get like one of those first edition Charizard cards, but like I also know it's gonna be like basically buying a home for it. So
How wow, how much are those? How much do they
oh,
go for?
they're like I think the last time I checked, I'm pretty sure someone sold it for like $500,000.
No way.
I'm not even joking.
What?
I'll find the article, guys. It'll be on the screen here, but
Oh my
I'm pretty sure if you
goodness.
had like a graded like mint condition like Charizard first edition card like from the base set, like the original like Pokemon card set, yeah, that's worth like an incredible amount. And even like the ones that aren't first edition but have been graded and just like obviously taken to where they need to go,
Yeah.
they're like a easy down payment on a home. So I
Insane.
don't want to rub it in, Kev, because I know for me
Wow.
it hurts me.
Wow. Wow.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there is kind of wild how the rate of cards have gone absolutely monstrous right now.
Yeah. Wow.
So I know that makes your story even that much harder to
I
swallow, at
know.
least
No.
for me.
No.
So
I know. It's
I
all
didn't want to
good.
say it as if like I like
No, I get it. I
it,
get
it
it.
hurt me just as much to say it as to hear
I
your
understand.
stories. So,
I understand.
but getting on from the very sad stuff, we're gonna move it
Yeah.
into the next question, Kev, that I have for you. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup including Valleyheart, who would be on it?
Ooh. I think Copeland is definitely a dream
Nice. That was
band.
one that I couldn't think of earlier, but yeah, that's
Yeah, Copeland. Our bassist is a huge Death Cab for Cutie fan,
ooh
so I
nice.
think
Yeah.
that'd be cool in there too. Um, Copeland, Death Cab. Like someone more recent. I love Pine Grove. I'd,
Ooh yeah,
that'd be
Pine
cool.
Grove. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, yeah,
All right, that sounds sick. I'd be about it.
yeah.
I don't
I don't know if
know.
it's the only. There's many dreams, but it's a dream tour.
Hey, Dream Tour. Yeah, I
Yes.
like the lineup. Guys, if you want to make that happen, I would buy tickets today immediately. Like as soon as this ends, if it was real, I would just go, go type away on the computer, buy that, ticket, and be on my way. But oh man, that would be, I would like, yeah, that would be really cool. I would be about that. I don't know if it
Yeah.
would happen, but guys, manifestation. So
Let's go.
make it a
Let's go.
reality.
Let's go.
Um, Next question, Kev. In your opinion, who puts on a great live performance in terms of the bands that you've seen?
Well, I'm gonna stick to what I've seen this year because I've seen a lot of shows this year because of just them coming back.
Yeah, yeah,
And man, Big Thief was something else.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like their albums, but live there was an energy that was palpable and just really, really cool. And they just shredded, and they were louder and heavier and fuzzier than they were on the records. And it was so cool to see those songs translated into that sort of atmosphere. Felt feeling inspired and excited and sort of real nice.
I love when a band like you already love the record to begin with, and then you get to see
Hmm.
it live, and it's like more incredible than the
Yeah.
record you heard in the studio. So I love that. So I'll have to check Big Thief out.
Yeah.
I know that they had stuff coming out, but I didn't know if they had fully released the record yet. So now I'll have
Yeah.
to go back and do some digging. But
Yeah.
very cool, Kev. The next
Yeah.
question, favorite TV show, favorite movie.
Oh, favorite TV show, favorite movie. Man, these are tough ones. Favorite movie. I always feel like I'm not getting. I don't have like a favorite movie, but I have favorite movies. So one of my favorite movies is, and one that kind of influenced this album would be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Fair enough. Yeah, classic.
Yeah, yeah, classic, but so good. So good. So weird, so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that one. And TV show, man, I don't watch that much TV, but I do like a normal amount. Favorite TV show. Oh man. I really love Breaking Bad a
Oh,
lot.
okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched it twice now and it's so good. Yeah. I'm
It's
gonna
a
go
great
Breaking
series.
Bad.
It's
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron Paul and like Bryan Cranston, like they're just synonymous with those roles now.
Yeah.
So I can agree with that answer. I have to go back. I I feel like I was slightly tainted with Breaking Bad because like I started watching it and I was watching it every week, and then like I kind of jumped off that train for like a hot second, and then everybody likes I like was on Facebook, and someone had spoiled the ending of
Oh
Breaking Bad for
no.
me, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to continue watching it again after that
Yeah,
point. So
that's rough.
I feel like now that I've kind of forgotten about that slightly, I'm like I probably could go with and go into it with like fresh eyes again. So
Yeah.
I'll have to, because I feel like a lot of people have been mentioning that recently. So I'll have to go give
Yeah,
that a
it's a good
listen.
one. It's a good one.
But the next question I have for you, Kev, if you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what would it be?
Whoa. Huh. Probably um Stuck on an Island, huh? I'm not gonna choose my favorite album because my favorite album is probably they're gonna be too sad, right? So you're gonna want some level of hope, and
Fair enough.
you know what I'm saying? Like you want
Yeah.
some sort of hope, and yeah, I mean this is gonna sound very obscure and random, but I'm really into bossa nova.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, like João Gilberto and all those people. Uh, Grew up on that. I'm half Brazilian, so there's a connection there,
sure.
and
Yeah.
that's just kind of my favorite feel good music. So I would do like a João Gilberto Greatest Hits record, or like the Stan Getz collab with him and Usher. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's my answer.
That
Yeah,
is a very out of left field answer, but I love it because I feel like you really like thought about it. You're like, I don't want to listen to my favorite record because I'll be really sad and I wouldn't want to get off the island. But I feel
yeah,
like if you're listening to some like bossa nova tunes, I feel like that's like the
exactly.
vibes are there. You're
You're on
happy,
an
like
island.
I'm
Like
on
you're
an
not gonna
island.
list. Yeah, you're not gonna listen to like Phoebe Bridgers or Manchester Orchestra on an island while you're deserted. That sounds nightmarish.
Yeah, you're really trying to just vibe out, and then like if you
Yeah.
see a plane flying in the air, you're like, "Fam,
What's
come
up?
back, come here, I
Exactly.
need you." You know.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
okay, I could subscribe to that. I like that. I like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
The second to last thing I've been asking a lot of people on here, Kev. So if you made it through the entirety of this video, I appreciate it. But I've been asking bands, what do you want fans to take away from Valleyheart, whether it be from a lyrical aspect, a musical aspect, a combination of the two? And obviously, you guys have a new record coming out, so maybe you can speak on that too as well.
Yeah.
But what do you want people to take away from Valleyheart as a band collectively?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm gonna narrow in on the new album just because that's where our intention feels the most focused right now.
Fair enough. Yeah.
With what we're trying to say and what we're trying to do. And, I think the Valley Heart Project and the songs that we write, and lyrically speaking, the songs that I write, are meant to meet people where they're at in lower moments, right?
Yeah.
And sort of be a hope, but a relatable platform. And I think with this new album in my head, there's sort of the continuation of the story of identity from our last record and just sort of stuff I'm writing about in my life and that progression that happens naturally. But I think there is an intention behind that. And I think that intention is to create a language and platform and a background where people could talk about the concepts on the record, being vulnerability, being the idea of relying on achievement, the idea of being present. And I think that, especially in our culture, being busy is like
Yeah.
such a good thing. Like, oh, how you been? I've been good, man. Just been so busy, like busy. And, I found those moments where I'm feeling like that are probably the moments I'm feeling the most disconnected from myself and from maybe my partner or my family. So I think this album is challenging you when all that stuff is gone, when you go to bed and it's just you and yourself, or you and the people you're close to. Like, who are you? Like, do you really love yourself? Do you really forgive yourself? And it's okay if you're not there, but I think this album is the challenge to put away the distractions and the vices that we might lean on to sort of quiet those things. But yet this album is meant to sort of bring those things out in my life, I know, but hopefully it challenges people to do that the same, because I think that journey, although hard, is the one that gets you to true growth and healing.
No, and I appreciate you talking on that, Kev, because honestly, to me too, like I feel like as being a YouTuber, you're constantly like trying to chase the next thing, and it's like, oh man, like I interviewed Kev at Valleyheart, and I'm interviewing this person, I'm interviewing that person. It's always like this mentality of like trying to up yourself, and obviously
Yeah,
that's important too. But I feel like
definitely.
there is a level of like where you get capped off, and like it's to not take it further than that point. And I
Hmm.
kind of agree with you. And I think that's why this record hits a little bit more home for me, at least personally.
Hmm.
Because I took a lot of time off between the years of 2020 to 2021 just to kind of like get my mental health in order and like know that like I was pushing myself too far to the point where I was like, I like you like you said, where you kind of question whether or not like are you yourself, and
Yeah.
I think that I have to have that healthy respect, and I probably similarly to your music is where you find that healthy respect of like this is my music, like I love creating it, but like am I pushing myself too hard to get to that point or like to work on something and so I feel like
Yeah.
that's gonna it's gonna pay a lot of dividends in the end if you're able to kind of find that right balance of like I'm working hard enough but I'm not pushing myself to the point where I'm like this is like messing with me. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotta show a lot of love
Exactly.
to that. I gotta show a lot of love to this record, and obviously to you for writing it, because I feel like again it's gonna speak to me personally, and I've
Hmm.
imagined for most people within the 21st century that kind of kind of mentality
Yeah.
has been pushed on us. So I'm glad you're able to speak about that. But the last thing, Kev, the most important thing, probably the reason why you're on here, where can people find Valleyheart? Obviously, as of this recording, the album will be out, so tell them where they can find that at, and anything you guys have coming up in the next couple months.
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram at ValleyHeartMA. You can follow us. We do some cool stuff there, announcements, try to DM as much people as I can, talk about anything, do some questionnaires sometimes. We're sharing a ton of sort of behind the scene footage from the studio stuff that we did for this album. So
Very
there's going
cool.
to be a lot of that. And that's going to come out on YouTube, but also on Instagram as reels. And just like, there's just going to be a lot of sort of where this record came from. So definitely keep up with us on social media for that. Twitter, same thing, but I'm just sort of just having hot takes on Twitter most time, which is really funny. Um, Facebook, we're not as active, but like, yeah, I would say Instagram. Connect with us there. And yeah, for coming up, our record release, if this will be after we would have just had a listening party for our record. But we have an album release show on July 23rd as well in Somerville, Massachusetts. So stay up to date on our socials for details about that. And then we're hoping to get on the road sometime later this year to support the record too. But for now, just local stuff. So we're excited.
Very cool. Well, want to give a shout outs to Tim over at Atom Splitter. They've been doing a lot. We've been doing a lot of great work over the years, so want to give a shout outs to them. But again, if you have not checked out Valleyheart, you need to go do that right now. Like as soon as this is over with, like go literally go follow them on Spotify and wherever you can find music at. If you are much like me and pick up vinyl, go pick up their new record, Heal My Head. It's out now. All of the links will be below to go give Valleyheart a listen. Go follow them on social media. And very excited to see some of the behind the scenes stuff. I'm a music nerd in that aspect, so I really do like those videos. So I'm very stoked. Go give them a follow on YouTube, of course, too. But if you enjoyed this content, share, like, subscribe. It goes a long way. I hate asking for it, but I'm just going to continue to feed the system of YouTube to ask for it. So please, if you do like the content, continue to come hang out and watch with me. But want to give a major shout out to Kev for coming on and doing this interview.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.